键新局。7月3日0点起，蜘蛛人离家日。
What's going on, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, and it looks like Sony Japan that is, might have pulled a whoopsie this morning by releasing this on accident. It's a mini teaser trailer of the actual teaser trailer. It simply tells us when the release date is going to be. However, it is unconfirmed right now if this is indeed legitimate. This is going around everywhere online right now. And if this is true, then, well, we only have 3 days to wait until we get the official Spider-Man No Way Home teaser. Now, I found out a little bit of Spider-Man No Way Home teaser trailer information that I'll share some of in this video. And I also have found out that there are actually some plot leaks out there that are very, very true. And that's what I'm going to be discussing in this video. So if you love Spider-Man and want to stay up to date on No Way Home, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. But before we get started, big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community that offers thousands of classes for creative people. And I personally am a huge advocate of Skillshare. I've used Skillshare to take classes about YouTube, about Photoshop, about Final Cut Pro and other editing software. And if you're looking to do YouTube yourself, it's a great place to learn everything you need to know. I also use it personally. I used to use it to learn how to play guitar better, and now I'm using it to try and learn how to sing better. If you are looking for a place to explore your creativity or to simply get better at things, Skillshare is the perfect place to learn all of these things. And the great news is the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. Just click the link in the description down below to get started. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this leak is probably fake. Even if the trailer does come out on July 22nd, I still believe that this particular video isn't real. My main thinking behind this is that there's a really weird Spider-Man in the beginning that seems to be edited in, and his shoulder's just covering the release date, which apparently is July 22nd. One, it seems like this is really not very good editing, and two, it's a little too convenient that his shoulder is barely covering the release date. If Sony Japan, or Sony in general, were going to put out a teaser for a teaser, they would actually give us the date. They wouldn't just show part of it. And that's really my main reasoning for thinking that this is probably not too legitimate. However, I do believe the trailer is coming soon, and I'll tell you a little bit on what I know. For starters, as some of you may know because I've mentioned it a few times, I have 2 trailer sources. From all the way back to Avengers Endgame to Shang-Chi to the Eternals to the What If trailer dropping the other week, they've all been right about the release dates. However, there is a little bit of a catch. They usually don't find out when the trailers are dropping until a few days before. So I checked with both of my sources, they haven't heard anything yet. But what I have heard and seen online from legitimate sources and people is that the trailer is expected to come out between now and the release of Marvel's What If on Disney+, which comes out August 11th. So there's only about a 20-day window in which the Spider-Man trailer could come out right now, assuming that these sources are correct about the window. And right now, that's really all that we've heard. Unfortunately, I do think that this is fake, but of course there is always the possibility that it could be real. And yes, Spider-Man No Way Home is the worst kept secret in Hollywood right now, but I'm not sure if Sony Japan or anybody else from Sony is dropping teasers about the teaser. If they are, what an interesting tactic, and I mean, hey, it's gonna work, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Now, like I said, I have heard things about some specific plot leaks out there, and one of them out there is very legitimate, and of course I'm going to go over it, and I've actually gone over it before. This was before I had any confirmation that it was indeed real, and typically with plot leaks, there's always typically something that is true about it. We've learned since Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame and the rest of the movies and shows that have come out, typically with plot leaks there are aspects of each plot leak that is real. However, with this particular plot leak, I've been told that pretty much all of it is legitimate. And I've even seen some people online like Grace Randolph stating that there is a 100% real plot leak out there online right now, and I believe it's this one. So if you don't want to really know, now is your chance to click away. I will say it's what we've been talking about this entire time, so it won't be that big of a surprise, but it sure is exciting. So let's go. Again, I've talked about this one before, but let's talk about it like this is actually what is going to happen. It starts off by saying, Peter's life is ruined after his identity was revealed at the end of the last Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man No Way Home. He is now facing trial, and Matt Murdock is his lawyer. Peter goes to Doctor Strange and asks him to cast a spell to make everyone forget that he is Spider-Man. Doctor Strange actually agrees to this, but something goes wrong with the spell and they break reality and bring 5 Spider-Man villains of other dimensions into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Green Goblin from Spider-Man 1, Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2, the Sandman from Spider-Man 3, Lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man, and Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Norman Osborn is talking to the others asking what is the last thing that they remember, and they all say that Spider-Man killed them. That's the last thing they remember, dying at the hands of Spider-Man. And this is what each of them individually say. Doctor Strange wants to take them back to their original dimensions, but the villains fear that returning would mean that they would return exactly where they came from, meaning they would die, again, at the hands of Spider-Man. Doctor Strange is keeping all of these villains trapped in a magical prison, and Peter doesn't really feel right about that. So Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin, manipulates Peter into freeing them, making him feel guilty for their deaths. This leads to a major conflict between Doctor Strange and Peter Parker, so Peter fights Doctor Strange and breaks the key, which is a cube that held them captive in the prison, and the villains are now free. They start destroying parts of New York, and to stop them, Peter somehow brings Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then there's a big rematch between Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2, a big rematch between Andrew Garfield Spider-Man and Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then the final battle is going to be at the Statue of Liberty with the 3 Spider-Mans fighting together, fighting the Sinister Six. And the person who provided this plot leak said, "To be clear, I have no idea who the 6th member is or when and how he comes to the scene." And that very well could mean that it's going to be a villain from our own universe. Since all of these other characters are indeed multiversal villains, it would make sense to have at least one villain from our own universe. Heck, maybe even Mysterio is alive, which is something that I kind of believe and hope for. And I wouldn't put it past the Master of Illusions, Mysterio, to still be alive, his whole death being a grand illusion. But this is the plot leak. Now let's talk about some key parts to this. One key part is actually something that we've been hearing for a very long time. It was reported on well over a year ago that Spider-Man himself, Peter Parker, would actually be responsible for releasing the villains. Now at first that was really all of the context that we were given, just that Spider-Man releases the villains. We didn't really know what that meant though. However, now we do. Doctor Strange actually puts them in a magical prison. Then Peter Parker releases them. That's how it happens. Now, as far as the villains actually coming into our reality, Loki kind of explains how this could happen. The multiverse is now a thing. There are tons and tons of branch alternate timelines. And there weren't before. There was just one sacred timeline. And perhaps Doctor Strange, although I would find it very odd if he didn't know, but perhaps he doesn't know about all of these alternate branches yet. Because that could be happening at the exact same time he's dealing with Peter Parker. So he casts a spell that before probably wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But now, since there are multiple timelines and branches, it is a big deal, and it does actually affect the multiverse. And this could be how they come in. Doctor Strange isn't aware that another timeline is so close to theirs, so the spell ends up bringing other variants into the MCU. And from here, something else that is in this plot leak that has been talked about for a while is that Peter Parker and Doctor Strange aren't going to agree on something. Well, we now know what that is. It's the fact that Doctor Strange is holding these villains in a prison cell and wants to send them back to their original timelines. Now, of course, this would in turn kill them because that's what was going to happen to them before, Spider-Man killing them. So our Peter Parker, being a Spider-Man variant, feels guilty about this and somewhat responsible since they are dying to a Spider-Man, even though it's not him. So this is clearly their disagreement. Doctor Strange thinks they should be sent back, even if it's going to kill them, and Peter Parker disagrees. Whatever Peter's solution could have been on how to save them, who knows? But it doesn't matter because he ends up breaking them out and they end up causing havoc on New York. And the final scene is on the Statue of Liberty, which we actually know this to be real as well. We've actually seen leaked photos of the Statue of Liberty on the Spider-Man set, and we've actually seen the Statue of Liberty holding a Captain America shield. So who knows what's happening there, but exciting nonetheless. So be sure to let me know what you think about this plot leak, as I've been told that it is pretty much legitimate. This is probably what we're going to be seeing in Spider-Man No Way Home, so let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video, and of course for live updates you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.